Fans of Final Destination, we won. I really enjoyed this movie. I think that everyone else is really enjoying this movie too, with these like insane Rotten Tomato scores. I don't know if this movie is exactly this score, but I think if we're grading on a curve, then I understand. I remember Final Destination 5 and how much I did not like that movie. Then I understand why this movie is getting such a high rating. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily, or La Movie Mija. I'm a part-time filmmaker, full-time movie lover, and this is my spoiler-free review of Final Destination Bloodlines. I'm a huge fan of Final Destination, and something that I've always been fascinated by is the idea that these characters are not being chased by a monster or an entity, but they are being hunted down by the physical manifestation of death itself. Death is presented to us through the camera, through the music cues, through the direction in the film to create the sense of dread in all the inanimate objects around your household or anywhere out in the world. And it does a really compelling job of creating these really gnarly setups and payoffs for the way that death is just gonna get you in the end. That and all the movies always had this undercurrent of humor because it is a little ridiculous, but it's still very heartfelt because these characters are dealing with actual death, and it doesn't shy away from being able to balance between those two tones. So when I saw that they were going to be making a 6th movie in the franchise, 14 years after the last Final Destination movie, Final Destination 5, which is coincidentally not the Final Destination, I was apprehensive because legacy sequels like this are usually a cash grab, and we have been let down before. But I am so delighted to say that that 14-year gap between the last movie and this one was much needed, as they put together a team of people who brought us a fresh, new, and exciting rendition of Final Destination that still pays homage to the original franchise. I want to know from you, what is your Final Destination movie ranking? Let me know in the comments below. I'll let you know mine. If you remind me, I'll tell you how this movie stacks up against the rest of the franchise. And of course, please like and subscribe to my channel so you can get one new movie review from me every single week. And you can follow me at Movie Mija on all the things. All right, let's get into it. Plagued by a recurring violent nightmare, a college student returns home to find the one person who can break the cycle and save her family from the horrific fate that inevitably awaits them. The film is directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein, and it stars Breck Basinger, Caitlin Santajuana, Teo Briones, Richard Harmon, Owen Patrick Joyner, Anna Lohr, and Tony Todd. The qualifications of a quality Final Destination film are finite and simple. It's just two things. One is some creative, gnarly kills, like unimaginable, twisted, disgusting ways people are exited from the land of the living. And secondly, it's the compelling drama around the characters as they pursue a solution to finding a way out of death's deadly grasp. And in my humble opinion, I think this movie delivers on both of those Final Destination promises. Final Destination approved. The kills in this movie are disgusting, diabolical, and yes, you will unlock some new irrational fears. From the premonition to the subsequent deaths that follow, there is just so much inventiveness and wild scenarios that occur in this movie that if you're a fan of the previous films, you're going to be delighted. Like, there are some twists and turns that you cannot see coming, and there was moments in this movie that I had to cover my eyes like a child. That is not something I do often. It's probably happened to, maybe I can name on one hand the movies that's happened to me in, and this is one of those movies. Some of those moments took my literal breath away because I just didn't think that they would think of things like this. But then I saw that one of the writers for this film actually was a segment producer on 1,000 Ways to Die, and if you remember that show, then yeah, this movie has a little bit of that in it. And it's super gory, and I think that kind of adds to the humor of the overall movie. Like, the movie is very humorous and funny and silly without veering off into the realm of the wacky. There is a lot of CGI. There's a little bit of practical effects, not as much as I would personally like, but the CGI that is present is pretty well executed. But I think the fact that you can tell that it's CGI in most of these things is like a relief, because it's not like you're like sick to your stomach watching this movie. It's still just really over the top and gory and plays into the world of silly rather than it being too somber. Unlike other iterations of Final Destination, where you have the core characters are essentially survivors or people who ended up walking away from a deadly situation and are trying to deal with that survivor's guilt, that adds like a somber element to the films. This movie doesn't have that element. Instead, that more like somber, dramatic tone comes from the family drama that they're experiencing and the broken relationships that they're looking to repair while trying to face down death. And all of it makes for a cool subversion of what we've come to expect from the series. And I found myself on the edge of my seat throughout this film because I didn't really know what to expect with this new setup, and I really liked where this movie ended up going. What's also different about this movie is that it's the longest entry into the franchise at 1 hour and 50 minutes, almost 2 hours long. This movie is the longest, and I like that it takes its time with its characters, with its setup, and I didn't really feel that kind of lull or feel it drag at all. I feel like it adds to crafting our care and our investment in the people that are trying to evade death. And kudos for the pacing and the editing to really selling that point as well, because there are so many moments in this film that are nods, like specific shot for shot nods to the previous films that are just playing with your head, because now you feel like a main character in a Final Destination movie because you're like, oh, I could see that, and you're trying to connect the death dots and see things coming, and they know you're trying to do that, and they're like, we're not going to give you what you think is going to happen. We're going to do this instead. And it is just so much fun to see it all unravel. One of my favorite Final Destination bits are the music cues, and this movie does not disappoint. There are some cheeky song selections throughout the film that are just so on the nose. They are so fun and silly, and one of them is just downright messed up. They add so much character to the film, and again, there is that balance of that lightheartedness. So you have like these fun music cues, these really cool call outs to the previous films, and these shot for shot recreations that you get, and these little Easter eggs throughout. You also have like these really over the top gory kills that are somewhat like silly. And then you have this foundation of the family story, and the performances themselves I thought were all fantastic. They're all on par with each other. Everyone had some really great chemistry as like believable cousins and siblings, and I really thought that that was some great casting for this film. Shout out to our two main characters, Caitlin Santa Juana, who plays Stephanie Reyes, and Teo Briones, who plays her brother, Charlie Reyes. Like, being able to balance the drama with the funny and the silly and being siblings. Like, I just love their sibling dynamic, and I really enjoyed their performances in this movie. And no surprise, there is a very compelling moment with the late great, the horror icon that is Tony Todd, that is just so beautiful. It is a wonderful send-off to this incredible actor and person, and knowing like behind the scenes that he knew that he was sick at the time of filming this movie, and the filmmakers didn't know if he was going to want to participate, and he wholeheartedly leapt at the opportunity to be part of this franchise. And he has been a mainstay, Mr. William Bloodworth, from the first film. So to see him come full circle, be in this movie, it marking his last like appearance on screen, is just such a beautiful way to send off and honor him as an actor, as the man that he is. And he has a little like monologue in this film that is really touching, and for any fans of horror, of Final Destination, it is a moment that's going to like really resonate with you. All in all, fans of Final Destination, we won. We won. This is a moment to rejoice. My whole theater experience was so much fun because people were yelling and clapping and cheering. Like, it was like a football game watching this movie. Like, there were things that had reactions from the audience that just in any other movie franchise wouldn't make sense. But in this movie, people were cheering, and rightfully so. This movie gets everything right about the tone of Final Destination while setting itself apart from its predecessors. I feel like it would personally stack up for me right up against the first one. The first one just cannot be unmatched. I mean, like, there's just a certain quality to that film that is always going to like stay so close to my heart, but this movie I think is bumping up right against that. There is just something really compelling about the family story. There is something so great about the tone and the laughter that it invites into the movie, and it just really breathes new life into this idea that death is all around us, and being able to tackle that great fear of like confronting death and trying to evade it alongside your family members is a fresh new way to take on Final Destination. I think anybody who is a fan is going to have a fantastic time. And the good news is you don't have to have watched all 5 previous movies to enjoy this movie. I think new fans are going to be so welcomed. Like, this is a movie that is accessible to anybody. There are some things that are going to be more enjoyable if you've seen the last 5 movies, but you don't have to come in with all of this lore and knowledge of like those movies. And I feel like that is the one thing, like the Achilles heel of requels and reboots, is the idea that you have to be so studied in the movies that came before, and this movie doesn't make you do that. All right, that is my review of Final Destination Bloodlines. Thank you so much for watching my video. Again, please drop your ranking of the Final Destination movies in the comments below because I want to see how my list stacks up against yours. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'll see you next time. Bye.